Hey everyone, today we're going to break down a really powerful blueprint for not just surviving, but actually thriving at university. Think of it as a practical playbook born from real world experience on how to juggle your faith, your finals, and, everything else that gets thrown at you.
So you're heading off to university, right? It's this huge, exciting time of massive change and opportunity. But with all the advice flying around, what's the one thing that will actually keep you anchored? Well, this blueprint offers a surprisingly simple answer to that exact question. Let's get into it. All right, before we even get into the nitty-gritty of study hacks or social tips, this blueprint starts with a single foundational question. The argument is that your success in everything else really hinges on how you answer this one thing. Who are you, first and foremost? And here it is, the core principle of this whole playbook. It's all about establishing your true identity. The idea is that before you're a biology major, a debater, or an athlete, your primary identity is your faith. And this one idea, it acts like a compass for every single decision you're going to make. Okay, so this perspective frames your whole university experience around two massive ultimate questions. The first one is about salvation. That's your eternal destination. But the second one, that's about stewardship, what you actually do with the time, the talent, and the opportunities God gives you. When you think that way, it shapes every choice, from the classes you take to what you do on a Friday night. So that's the big idea. But how does it actually play out in the real world, with your studies? How do you go for academic excellence without compromising what you believe? Well, this blueprint offers a very specific playbook for exactly that. And here's the crucial point. A lot of people hear good advice, but the person who created this blueprint says the real secret weapon was actually applying it. It's the difference between just, taking notes in a lecture and actively putting those principles to work, day in and day out. And this slide just perfectly lays out the method for doing it. It's a 4-step cycle for mastering your subjects. First, you're proactive. You read ahead. Then, you apply what you learn. Third, and this is a big one, you solidify that knowledge by teaching it to someone else. And finally, you lock it all in by going over your notes again and again. So this is really about how you do it. The principles are super clear. Your goal is to understand, not just cram to pass a test. You trust God for the outcome, which takes away the pressure that leads people to cheat. And here's a radical one in today's world. You set boundaries, like no studying past midnight or on Sundays. In a culture that worships the all-nighter, this is presented as a key to actually succeeding without burning out. And that quote is the perfect pivot point, isn't it? Because if being a person of integrity means you can't just follow the crowd in your studies, well, that principle applies even more when it comes to your social life. Which, of course, brings us right to navigating that super complex world of friendships and relationships at university. This is where the pressure to fit in can feel the most intense, which makes having a clear strategy an absolute must. Now, the source material gives some very direct, unfiltered advice here, specifically aimed at men. It basically suggests this black and white model for friendships with women to avoid any confusion. They're either a romantic interest or an acquaintance. No gray area. This is presented as a way to keep intentions and boundaries crystal clear. But navigating relationships is just one part of the obstacle course. The blueprint also lays out what it calls the temptation gauntlet. These are the specific challenges you're almost guaranteed to face in a university environment, and just being aware of them is the first step to getting through it. And this table lays it out pretty clearly. According to the source, the main temptations for men are listed as sexual temptation, drinking, and smoking. For women, the blueprint points to challenges around love, materialism, and jealousy. The point here is that while everyone's different, these are common patterns to be on the lookout for. And the blueprint really doubles down on this one area, particularly for guys. The claim is pretty bold. Developing self-control when it comes to sexual temptation is like a master key that can solve a huge chunk of your other potential problems. It's presented as a foundational discipline. All right, so we've hit on your core identity, your academics, your social life, but what's the one thing that holds it all together? This blueprint proposes that there is one ultimate guide, a master key that unlocks your ability to handle every single challenge we've just talked about. And that master key is learning to hear the voice of God. And look, this isn't framed as some weird, mystical, abstract thing. It's presented as a practical, internal guidance system, the tool you use for making real-time decisions, whether they're huge or tiny. So you might be thinking, why is this so important, especially today? Well, think about it. The world is just noisy. This guidance system is presented as what you need to navigate everything, from AI and social media trends, all the way down to everyday choices like, should I go to this party? Who should I let into my inner circle? What should I be watching? It's positioned as the ultimate guide.
And really, this verse from Proverbs just nails the whole philosophy of this blueprint. It's all about recognizing your own limits and choosing to trust a higher wisdom for direction, especially when you have no idea which way to go. So, in the end, it all boils down to this one last, really critical question for you to think about. University is a place that's just filled with voices: professors, friends, social media, our culture, all telling you who to be and what to do. And in the middle of all that noise, this blueprint asks you to make a conscious choice. Which voice will be your guide?